There's an old adage that politicians have a knack for failing upwards in their careers. And when it comes to politicians, it seems they're the only profession that I'm aware of that if you fail, you continue to get promoted and get bailed out by other people, and your failures don't mean anything. If there's one thing that the founders, I think, missed when they were creating our new republic, was any sort of, I guess, harsh accountability for politicians when they fail. I guess their whole thing was, well, if they fail, people can just vote them out of office. That's one thing, but that doesn't seem to be enough because I don't think people understand that you can just keep voting in the same people even though they continue to fail. There's no better example of politicians failing upwards than in California. I mean, most of those who have made it to statewide office and to the highest offices in the land, they have all failed upwards to get where they're at. Right now, you have 3 mayors who are failing at their job. One I'll give a pass on. He just got elected and he's trying to do his best to fix it. But the other 2 I'm not really going to give a pass on. They've been around for a while. One's already in his second term. One is in like her second year. This is not like new to them. So I'm not going to sit here and give them a pass as much as I'm going to give on the third one. But there are 3 mayors here in California who their failures don't mean that they're in the hot seat. No, when politicians fail, you end up paying for it, which I don't know, doesn't really seem fair to me. What I'm talking about is here in California, the 3 biggest major cities, San Diego, LA, San Francisco, all are facing enormous budget deficits. You have San Diego, which is around $270, $285 million budget deficit. You have LA, which is facing about $1 billion budget deficit. And you have San Francisco, which is facing also close to $1 billion budget deficit. Now, these politicians, are they going to step back and say, oh, this is our fault, we'll fix it, we'll be the sacrificial lamb, we'll fall on our sword, we'll take all the responsibility, and we'll fix it because that's what our job is? No, that's not what they're doing. Instead, what they're doing is they are passing their failures onto you to pay more and cover up their mistakes because they have no other way in their mind. I mean, there are other ways. There is no other way in their mind how to fix budgetary problems outside of raising taxes and raising revenues. They can't figure out how to cut because they certainly don't want to cut the size of government, but they do know how to raise revenue. Let's start with my hometown of San Diego. San Diego, there was a measure on the ballot this last fall called Measure E. Measure E was pushed as a half-cent sales tax increase that was, quote, and this is why I always tell people, look beyond the flowery, fancy, nice language of every proposition. The stated goal of Measure E was it was going to fix our infrastructure, it was going to pay for first responders, it was going to do all these wonderful things. That how could you vote against this? These are all wonderful things we all enjoy. Buried deep in that proposition, though, was details that all of the money was going to end up in the general fund anyway. And when it ends up in the general fund, it's not specifically designated just for first responders or infrastructure or anything like that. It goes into the general fund, and then Mayor Todd Gloria can do whatever the heck he wants with it. Well, the good news is San Diegans were not ready to pay another sales tax increase, and it was voted down. Now, I'm sure Todd Gloria was banking on the fact that Measure E was going to pass. But sadly, for Todd Gloria, it didn't pass. He was expecting that Measure E was going to pass and fix all of his problems and balance his budget for him. And all he had to do was deceive the voters into thinking this money's really going to go to infrastructure and first responders, right? Seemed like a slam dunk. But then, when shockingly it didn't pass, now Todd Gloria had to actually get his hands dirty and figure out how to balance the budget. Now he's proposed some things that make almost no difference to the budget overall. Now, keep in mind, this is a $260, $270, at some points it was $285 million budget deficit. Some things that were literally a drop in the ocean. For example, banning fire pits on San Diego beaches because It cost the city $100,000 to keep up those fire pits. $100,000. Now, mind you, it's a $285 million budget deficit. $100,000. That seems more like Todd Gloria's punishing the people of San Diego for not passing his tax increase that he wanted. Another thing is they want to close bathrooms on San Diego beaches, that they want to take away services that we all enjoy. Now they're actually talking about charging people for parking at Balboa Park. It is supposed to be free for everyone to go and enjoy Balboa Park, but now they want to charge for it. And most recently, the city council this week is moving forward with a plan that is going to raise parking fees here in the city to help close that gap, because they have no idea how to fix a budget without raising taxes and revenue. So we're going to watch this video. This is from Fox 5, and we're going to comment after.
Well, San Diego City Council just approved a comprehensive update to parking regulations that could send parking prices soaring.
This is part of the ongoing effort to shrink the massive deficit in front of the city, targeting parking prices for a second time this year. But as our Dan Plant reports, that plan is getting a good amount of pushback.
Now that the politicians over at City Hall are desperate to raise more money, everything is a target these days, including the price of parking on city property. The price of a meter already doubled back in February from $1.25 to $2.50. Now the city is talking about raising it even more for special events, up to $20 an hour for a parking meter.
I think that's insane that they can raise the price even more, and it's already like inflated already enough, so I feel like that's crazy.
Right now, the city of San Diego has just over 5,300 parking meters, mostly downtown Hillcrest and North Park. Every year, these meters raise millions for street and sidewalk maintenance. But this year, there's a $260 million budget deficit. So the city is not only talking about higher rates, but also possibly starting to charge for parking in places where it's currently free.
They're just trying to shake us down for every dime they can get. You're always risking getting a ticket.
Among the many possibilities, setting the parking rates based on demand, like around Petco Park during a baseball game or a concert. Right now, it's $2.50 an hour. Under the so-called dynamic pricing, it could go up to $20 every hour.
I think that they're just taking from the people and they want more money for them, and they don't care for the people because they don't go to events down here, or they have drivers already just to drop them off. They have, they're not us,
Well, not on today's agenda. Some over at City Hall would also like to start charging for parking in popular tourist destinations where parking has always been free. One of the suggestions, start charging for parking in Balboa Park and Mission Bay Park.
That's taken a lot of magic away from San Diego. That's stuff that's always been accessible to us, and now they want to charge us for it.
Of course, along with parking meters from the city, there are dozens of private parking lots all over this town. They too use that so-called dynamic pricing and jack up the rates anytime there's an event in town.
I don't want to have a car. It makes me not want to have a car. It's too much.
Dan Plant, Fox 5 News.
Dan, thank you.
Well, I'm going to say one thing. That young man, very smart. He's got a future ahead of him. Yeah, it does feel like the politicians continue to take and take and take. $20 an hour. Imagine a city parking meter charging its citizens $20 an hour during peak concert times or ball game times or anything like that. $20 is what you pay usually per hour to go at a private lot or something like that. They're going to charge you $20 to literally park your car on a public street in San Diego or downtown San Diego, which is ludicrous. And again, it's because they don't know how to do anything with the budget outside of raised revenue. They can't sit down and think, hey, maybe there's a lot of waste and fraud and stuff like that going on here. Maybe there's stuff we don't need anymore. Maybe there's projects that we keep funding that we don't really need anymore. No, they have no concept of that idea of actually cutting the budget. Instead, it's let's take more from the people. And I can only imagine the idea of $20 parking on the street downtown is going to hurt a lot of downtown business and the economy when people go, well, I'm not going to park downtown because even if I find a spot on the street, it's going to be $20 an hour. But San Diego is not the only city that is doing this as of right now in California. There are two others that are doing quite exactly the same thing. LA, which is facing $1 billion deficit, they are looking to increase trash fees for Los Angeles residents by about 54% in a move to address an estimated $1 billion shortfall in the upcoming fiscal year. Los Angeles elected officials will consider a proposal to increase trash collection by 54% from $36.32 to $55.94 a month. In fiscal year 2025-2026, that subsidy is expected to reach nearly $230 million, an increase of $89 million compared to an estimated $134.4 million in 2024, with the proposed rate adjustments. According to the study, the new rates would reduce the impact to the general fund to $180, which would further reduce in the following 4 years. Another guilty culprit, San Francisco, is going to start charging you more for trash pickup. Seems trash pickup is a pretty easy way to start garnering more revenue if you're a city that's broke. But that's not all. That's not the only thing that San Francisco is doing. San Francisco, BART and Muni are going to go up as well. The cash-strapped transit agencies fear they may lose crucial federal funds under President-elect Donald Trump. The increase in bridge toll stems from a voter-approved measure to raise money for major construction projects. Effective January 1st, the cost of a basic ride on Muni buses and trains will rise to $2.75 from $2.50. The cash fare will remain $3. Monthly passes will cost $85, up from $81. A day pass will rise to $5.50 from $5. Now, this is one reason why I'm not going to really take it out too much on the new mayor of San Francisco, because at least he's trying to do something about this. He knows that there's $1 billion budget deficit, so I give him credit. He's one of the only people who's actually taking serious action on cutting a bloated budget. Daniel Lurie is axing 1,000 city jobs, sources say. In order to close this $782 million gap, Lurie intends to permanently eliminate around 1,000 jobs, sources said. Most of these positions are currently vacant or, to a lesser extent, filled by employees slated for retirement. He may also axe positions in up to 17 departments, with each losing up to 10 employees. So I give him credit that he's actually at least getting his hands dirty and doing what needs to be done, which is cutting the fat. But to summarize it all up, my main point is this: when politicians fail, you end up paying for it, which to me seems wholly unjust on us citizens. We didn't mismanage the city budgets. We didn't make the budgets bloated. We didn't overpromise and not do this correctly. Again, these politicians are the only people in profession I know that you can fail almost spectacularly at your job and still get promoted. Most people continue to fail and they get voted into the next higher office. Unfortunately, the founders didn't come up with a way to hold politicians more accountable in this way when they waste our tax dollars and they're over budget and stuff like that. But at least we still have information and free speech, and we can still get the word out there, and we can still let people know, so that hopefully we can stop these politicians from failing upwards and let them know that we're paying attention. Same thing with the city council here in San Diego. It wasn't just Todd Gloria. It was the San Diego City Council that is pushing this plan forward. Now, at least we still have avenues to let them know how upset we are. And if you want to let the San Diego City Council know, you can go to sandiego.gov/city council, and there they all are. And you can contact them. You can find which one is yours. Contact your councilman and say, this parking plan is preposterous, and you're going to ask us to pay even more money for your failures because you can't balance a budget. So let me know what you think. Do you think it's fair that politicians get to fail so spectacularly at things like budgetary practices and finances and how they handle our tax dollars, and they get to keep their job and they continue to fail upwards in our society, let me know. And thanks for checking us out. Hey, thanks for checking out that clip from the California Underground podcast. If you enjoyed it, make sure you subscribe, like, share, review, comment, hit that notification bell as well. It all helps with the algorithm, helps us grow the channel, and helps support this show. Also, if you're a fan of listening to podcasts on audio, we're everywhere you can find us on audio. Spotify, Apple, Google, Podbean, I don't know, you can find them anywhere on audio. Or if you enjoy listening here on YouTube and watching the video, you can watch here as well. And if you just want to sit back and watch some more clips, you can click on this button right here. And if you want to subscribe to the show, you can click on this button right here. All right, thanks.